Good morning, everyone. Today's event is sponsored by Ashby Village's Healthy Aging team. But unlike our fall healthcare series, where we focused on the challenges we older adults face in obtaining optimal healthcare, today we'll focus on the actions each of us can take to prevent one of the biggest challenges to our health and well-being, which is staying upright, or to be clear, preventing falls. As elders, we all become more vulnerable to falls and to the potentially serious and sometimes life-threatening health consequences from falling. Today, our guest speaker, Mary D'Elia, will be coaching us on ways to keep our feet strong and healthy in order to improve our balance and help us to prevent falls. It's a true pleasure to welcome Mary back to Ashby Village. Some of you may recall her first workshop given to us during the height of the COVID pandemic, when she first informed us about ways to keep feet healthy and fit. Today, she'll review some of these exercises along with informing us about the new things she's learned about foot health and fall prevention. Mary recently retired as the executive director of the Albany YMCA, where she has been teaching fitness classes for older adults. In the interest of full disclosure, I want you all to know that I've been a student of Mary's at the Albany Y for over 5 years, and I can attest to her skill at working with seniors. She makes her classes fun, helpful, and safe. Mary's been teaching for over 30 years and has a special interest in working with older adults. She started her movement journey as a modern dancer, where she discovered the importance of being in touch with one's body for balance, peace of mind, and well-being. She's certified in personal training, Pilates mat, and other group exercise classes. And she continues to teach senior strength and senior cardio classes at the Albany Y, and continues to keep herself informed about the latest ways to help us exercise safely and effectively. Mary will be leading our workshop for about 45 minutes today, and then she'll be available to answer any questions you have. Please do put your questions for her in the chat. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you, Roberta. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Sigrid. And thank you, Ashby Village. It's really a pleasure to be back here. Last time I met with you, I was in the YMCA and we were shut because it was those lovely days of COVID. Now I'm coming to you from my living room, which I have makeshifted into a studio. So I hope it looks good to you and that you can see everything. I'm very, very happy to be here. So as Roberta says, I have been doing exercise and working with older adults for almost all of my fitness career, and it's something that I get a great deal of pleasure for. And as I'm moving into that space myself, and have been, we're all aging, I am no exception. It's become even more and more of a passion for me, and knowing how important it is for us to maintain being healthy. I just wanted to say that today's work is really about strengthening and stretching your feet. And of course, muscles in the lower leg. Again, we'll talk about that. We're not really going to focus on fall prevention so much, but just you knowing how important it is for those muscles in your feet and your legs, how important that is to maintain stability and mobility. They all kind of work together. So why do we want to focus on feet? Strong feet and toes and ankles are essential as we age, for they provide the foundation for balance, mobility, and stability. Keeping our feet healthy through stretching and strengthening helps support our entire body, our alignment, our mobility, and our overall functioning. Strong and flexible feet support better movement overall and helps prevent injuries as we age especially, but not even that, always. So paying attention to healthy feet at best is really a daily activity, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming. You don't have to spend an enormous amount of time doing it if you can find ways to integrate it into your daily life. One of the things that I do is I keep a tennis ball under my kitchen table. So when I get up in the morning and I'm having my coffee and doing Wordle, I have that ball on the arch of my foot and I'm rolling it around as I'm trying to guess what those words are, or doing the mini crossword puzzle, shift it to the other foot. So it's just a way of remembering and knowing that even though they're down there, they really require our attention and care. So today I invite you to work out along with me. If you don't want to, feel free to just watch and think about things that might work for you. And we'll go over all the things that I have behind me that we'll be using. So as Roberta said, this is recorded. You can always access it later. But I also want a full disclosure. I am not a healthcare professional and I am not an acupuncturist or a chiropractor or a physical therapist at all. I'm really someone who has been moving and studying exercise and fitness certifications for many, many years. Anything that does not feel right to you, please don't do it. Don't continue to do it. And you want to always do something that feels right for you. So if something isn't, no need. The other thing I want to say is I hope that you have a chair close by that because we'll be sitting and standing. And I also want to make sure that I don't want you to be worrying about your balance as we do standing exercises. So feel free to hold on to a wall or a counter or that chair. So one thing at a time. Let's focus on feet. So come and join me as I tell you what I have here. So as I am in and out, you may not see all of me at the same time, and that's okay, because after all, the focus is on feet. But let me tell you what I do have. I have a chair with no arms or wheels. So I hope that if you have a chair, it has no wheels for sure. And I have in my basket of tricks, I have a towel. I've rolled it up and you'll see why I have it rolled up in a bit. I have a tennis ball. Most of us can access a tennis ball pretty easily, but I also have a harder ball, which is kind of like I'm not quite sure what this is used for, but it's extremely dense and hard. So I'm going to be using this one today, but you can, interchange multiple balls or those pinky balls that you've seen. I also have the ever-present strap, but this is my bathrobe strap, my bathrobe belt. So you can always use either a yoga strap, a belt, or something stretchier, which I also have, which is my Dynaband, which has stretch in it. You've most likely have seen these either at the gym, or you can get them at Sports Basement or Amazon if you shop on Amazon. A couple of other things I want to point out that are always useful to have. I have a rolled up yoga mat that I'm going to probably show you another way to use this to help with strengthening or stretching your feet. And then this is something that I've just discovered recently. It is a foam half dome. And I love this. I use it for stretching my calves, and I'll go into that as well. You don't have to have this. All the other things, makeshift and improvisation is great. So let's start standing. I'm standing in front of my chair. And I always like to start either classes or workshops by getting into an optimal standing position. So again, if you don't want to stand, you don't need to, but for those of us who are standing, go ahead and just think about finding your foot points. So your foot points would be, just 1 second here. Your foot points would be your big toe, your little toe, and your heel. Okay, so your big toe, your little toe, and your heel. And then more specifically, the bone behind your big toe, the bone behind your little toe, and your heel. So starting from the top of the head, which is our whole body is involved in all parts of this exercise, thinking about your alignment so that your head is ramped back, chin is back of the head is long, and that your shoulders are down, collarbones are open, rib cage is dropped, And then finding the bony protrusions on your hips, your ASIS joint. And then going down from that into the middle of your ankles so that your toes are pointing forward. And then just standing here and finding again those 3 points of your foot, big toe, little toe, and heel. And I just want you to move forward and back and feeling forward and back. So something I forgot to mention, I'm working barefoot. If you can possibly work barefoot, that will be great because you'll see we're going to be working with the toes. If that doesn't work for you, go ahead and put your socks and shoes on or what have you, but barefoot is a really great way to actually feel the feet. So take your socks off if you can, and then I just want you to move forward and back. And you'll feel some gripping through the toes, maybe, and some movement. That's it. Good. And then just shake that out. Grabbing the ball, I'm going to use this white, hard, dense ball, and I'm going to put it underneath the ball of my foot. So I'm going to go sideways so you can see this and move everything else out of the way. So it's underneath the ball of my foot. And I'm going to look down and feel my toes kind of melting over that ball. Right? And again, hold on to the chair or the wall. I'm not going to hold on to anything at the moment, but I invite you to, so I don't want you to work on your balance. We're just going to simply roll this ball to the outside of the foot and then back to the inside of the foot and to the outside of the foot and to the inside. So we're doing eversion and inversion. The heel is anchored to the floor. You're simply rolling along the metatarsal of that foot, down and down. And now hold it here and then just press the metatarsal into the foot and then release that. So then move the ball now to the arch of your foot. So backing up, I'm going to move, make sure you can see me. I now have the ball under the arch of my foot. And I'm going to apply pressure, pushing the ball, the arch of my foot into that ball, creating some movement, opening up the bones and the connective tissue in that part of my foot, and getting a stretch. It's intense. You can do this sitting down, but one of the reasons why I'm demonstrating it standing up is you have the full weight of your body into this by pressing. Nice. And I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to move it so that it's now under the heel of my foot. And I'm going to press the heel of my foot down into it, like I'm trying to squash it. My knee is bent. And then I'm going to release that. Let's do the other foot. So starting together. The ball is now underneath the metatarsal. I'm standing as upright as I can. The heel of my foot is anchored as I just roll to the outside and the inside. Being aware of the rest of my body's alignment, trying not to drop in and out through the hip. So this is why it's a kind of a full body exercise, even though the focus is on feet, rolling in, rolling out, rolling in, and rolling out. Let's do a few more. In and out. And because it's a ball and it's round, it wants to get away from us. So that's part of the work, is holding onto it and hold it there. Nice. I'm going to move that ball now to the arch and just simply press. Holding it here, feeling, are you using and releasing through your breath? Move it around a little bit in that arch. See how that feels. Stretching. Nice. And then the last part is the heel. Stretching the heel and then just squashing the ball with the heel. Good. We tend to not think about the heel a lot until it starts bothering us with plantar fasciitis. But there's so many nerve endings in the heel. It can be super tender. So just moving that around Nice. Okay, and then release that. So I'm gonna go back to this, the first foot, and I'm just gonna roll from the toe, back of the toes to the heel, and I'm just rolling the whole foot. Roll it and pull back, and roll it and pull back. And you'll notice if you're doing this sitting, it's probably a little bit easier. And if you're holding on to the chair, if you're standing, I hope that you are. It's a little destabilizing, but just massaging with the whole weight of the body, mostly in that foot, and change it. Let's do the other side. So you're going from the metatarsal and then just rolling that foot, the ball. Nice. So different balls have different density. This ball tends to have a lot. Tennis ball is great. It's a great medium amount of intensity and density. So whatever works for you, and then just rolling. Nice. Okay. I'm gonna take that ball, put it away for now, and standing, I would like you to turn and face your chair or face sideways or face front. I'm gonna face sideways so you can see this. I'm taking my leg that's closest to you and I'm taking it behind me and I'm putting the top of my foot on the floor to stretch the top of my foot. Stretching it there. Nice. This is a stretch we don't often do. We spend a lot of time stretching through the calf, stretching through the back of the leg, but stretching here, you should be feeling the front of your foot stretching as well as maybe up into your shin and the tibialis anterior, that front shin muscle. Good. And change. And then the other side. Not always so easy. And then you're just holding this. So some of these stretches can be a little uncomfortable. So release it if it's too uncomfortable. You don't need to be in a very painful position. Just know, especially as we're introducing some of these exercises, you're going to start with this. As you do it more and more, it should get a little easier. Stop and release that. I'm going to do this again facing you because I want to show you. That foot is going to go straight back behind me. And you'll notice I can move it in and out a little bit, just holding it there. Trying not to list into the hips side to side. So I'm standing full weight on top of this leg. And then release. Taking that other leg straight back, stretching again through the top of the foot. Trying not to list. If your body does list, it's in response to the intensity of the stretch. So just know that. Nothing is wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. It's just the way that our body responds to something new and maybe even something stressful. So go ahead and shake that out. Good. Come on down to sitting. Hello. And your feet are directly in front of you. So for this part, I'd like you to sit at the edge of your chair so that you can take a look at your legs. Eyes in line with the floor, knees, so you're kind of got a 90-degree angle at the knee joint. And then just take a look at your feet. They're pointing forward. Get familiar with those toes. See if you can just lift those toes and lower the toes. Simply that. You're lifting and lowering your toes. So toes are like our hands. We should be able to spread our toes the way that we spread our fingers. But because of our shoe and our footwear, we often have toes that are kind of tight together because the shape of our shoes brings those toes together. So this is an opportunity to let those toes stretch out and fly. Not so easy, and it totally takes practice. Go ahead and lift up the toes, see if you can spread them. Everybody will have a different degree of opening up the toes, and for some of us, you may look down and go, they're not going anywhere. See if you can lift them and lower. Let's do one more time, just lifting through the toes, stretching them out, and lowering them down. Good. Sit back a little bit in your chair, take hold of your thigh underneath, and I'm just going to swing this leg out and in. So if you have a hip replacement and you've been told not to externally rotate your thigh, you're not gonna wanna go into the next stretch, but for right now, hold it, everyone holding this. Circle that ankle around. So you're just sitting back, circle. If you wanna lean back into your chair, if you have a chair that has a back, go ahead and do that. But your focus right here is circling that ankle and nothing else is moving. So think about that big toe, drawing a big circle around. Let's slow it down. 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. And then reverse, go the other way, around. That's it, nice and slow. That's it, nothing else. Your leg, other part of your leg is not moving. That's it. And then lower that down. Let's take the other leg up, holding on behind it. We're gonna circle this ankle around. So keeping that leg in close, circle that ankle. That's it. Big toe, big movement, as big as you can. How big can that circle be as you circle around? And then when you're ready, go the other way, around. Nice. 2 more times. And down. That's it, great. Okay, so I want you to take hold of this foot, and this is where we're gonna externally rotate. So if you don't wanna bring your foot up on top of the opposite thigh, you don't wanna do this piece right here. You can do this sitting, or another option. But if this is a movement or a position that is not good for your hip, then you don't wanna do this one. So you're gonna lean forward and we're gonna just start by flapping the bottom of our feet. Right. Warm it up, give it some love, and then placing one hand on either side, little rub, little heat, the ball of the foot, and just getting some energy into it and also just paying attention to your feet. And then, so I want you to spread this hand, your opposite hand, and we did this last time we were together, if you remember. One finger inside between each toe. So for some, this is painful. For some of us, it's not quite so easy. Do what you can. Get your fingers in there and then just simply hold it. If you haven't done this in a while, or if it's a first time for you, know that this can be a little bit uncomfortable. But if it's a daily practice, then it gets easier. But this is such a great thing for our feet, spreading those toes. So right now, see if you can press your fingers into the toe beds between and just add a little pressure here. Inhaling and exhaling. So I have this hand, my opposite hand, the thumb is pressing on the arch. So a couple things going on. I've got my thumb pressing into the arch, and then I'm pressing my fingers into those toe beds. Take a breath, exhale. Try not to have any tension in your shoulders or your elbows as you're doing this, and then let it go. I'm going to circle that ankle around with the fingers in the toe beds, circling it around, breathing, and then holding and reverse and go the other way. So you may notice that your range of motion in this position for the ankle is a little different. Just more information. And then just simply hold it. Last thing, taking the knuckles of your hand and then between the ball of the foot and the heel, going up and down, pressing in and back. That's it. So from the ball of the foot down to the heel, right through that fascia. And let that go. Good. And then hold on for a second. Both feet are flat. Notice the difference between your 2 feet at this moment. This one should feel pretty energized and alive. Let's do the same for this. So go ahead and pick it up. Taking hold of the ankle, you're going to place it on the opposite thigh. And again, if this external rotation is not good for you, you can find other ways of getting those fingers into your toes. So here we go. We're just going to slap it up. up and down. Gently, be nice. And then one hand on either side, rubbing it out. Top of the foot, bottom of the foot. And then let it go. Take a breath, separating fingers, one in between each toe. That's it. And take your time getting there. Each side is different. Hands and fingers, fingers and toes, getting to know each other. That's it. And then just simply holding that, pressing down when you're ready into those toe beds. Drop your shoulders, relax your face, soften your gaze, holding it here. Nice. I'm going to take the thumb of my opposite hand, place it into that arch, give it just a little pressure, and breathe. So I'm pressing between the toe beds and into the arch. And release it. And now I'm going to take this ankle around in a circle. That's it. Letting that shoulder go so there's no tension in the shoulder or the arm. And bringing it around. And then reverse. Let's go the other way here. And again, working on getting some mobility into that ankle joint. And hold. And then I'm going to release it, taking my hand, making a fist, but get those knuckles. And then just from the ball of the foot, turning sideways so you can see, from the ball to the heel, just push and press. Nice. You could do this with something else if you don't want to use your hand. You could actually take that ball and put it here. And from that position, just rolling it with your hand and foot. Nice. And letting that go and release and come back. And then just feel both feet firmly on the floor. Okay. Just feeling that. So now I want you to just sitting again on the edge of your chair. And I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me. I'm going to extend my leg out, flex the ankle as much as I can, drawing the toes towards my shin. And as if there's a pencil, I want to grab with my toes. I grab the pencil, I release it, and I lower the leg. Okay, so sitting tall, leg comes out, grab the pencil, release it, lower the leg. I'm going to do it facing you, reaching out, dorsiflexing at the ankle joint, drawing the toes, pressing through the heel. I'm going to grab a pencil, release it, lower it down. So I'm simply curling the toes, flex, grab it, release it, and lower. Let's do a few more of those. Leg comes out, grab it, release it, and lower. Press out, grab it, release it, and lower. Two more times. Take it out. Grab, release, and lower. One more. Take it out. Grab, release, and lower. Nice. Cut out your quads. We did a little actual quad work there as well. And let's do the other side. So you're starting by extending. Curl those toes as if you're trying to grab a pencil. Release that pencil and lower the leg. Take it out. Grab the pencil. Release it and lower. Again, out. Grab. Release. Lower. Out. Flex through that foot. Press. Down. Let's do a few more. Push it out. Grab the pencil. Release it. Lower. One more time. Out it goes. Grab it. Release it. And lower down. Nice. Turning face me again. Feet are flat. And again, lining up. So sitting tall. Shoulders in line with your pelvis. Rib cage down. simply lift your heels, hold that. So you're going into a releve and lower those heels. So if any of these exercises, you're feeling a little cramping, stop you don't want to do it anymore. You're just gonna have, just stop. See if you can stretch it out and bring it back. So I often do this when I'm on an airplane, is heel raises and lowering. Of course, when you're on an airplane, you don't have a lot of room. So it depends on the seat or where I'm sitting, but if I can, I like to do this a lot, actually, heel raises and lower, because often when you're on an airplane, things swell up, your feet swells up, your water bottle swells up, calves can swell, there can be some real cramping in calves during airplane flights. So working and getting blood flow into the calves is very helpful. Let's do a few more, straight up and down, straight up and down, one more time, straight up and down, good. Feet flat, and we're gonna do the opposite. You're gonna raise the front of your foot and lower down, and raise it up and lower down. So one of the things that I do a lot of when I am teaching is we do a lot of, I'm sorry, I was just checking to see if that message was for me, I'm not quite sure. We do a lot of toe raises and heel raises, excuse me, because you want to be able to maintain this flexibility in your foot when you're standing, being able to lift it up. And that just telegraphs and translates right to your gait and to your walk. So let's continue to lift and lower and lift the toes and lower. Lift without rocking back into your heels and lower. And one more time, lift and lower. Good. And now alternate. So heels come up, lower, toes come up, lower. Heels, down, toes, down. Up, down, lift, lower, up, down, lift. Two more, heels up, heels down, toes up. One more time, heels up and toes and down. Nice, good. So let's just do a little pumping action. So you're gonna just alternate heels up and down, just like this. Good. It's like you're walking in place in a way. You don't walk like this, but you're just lifting and lowering up and down. For 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Good. Shake out those feet, shake out your legs. So one more thing we're gonna do while sitting, or actually maybe a few more, is I got my towel, and it's a hand towel, so it's not super big. And I'm just gonna put it on the floor, and you should see that right in front of my toes. So my heel is on the floor, my toes are on the towel, and I'm going to scrunch that towel up like I'm trying to bring it to me, And at some point, oh, look at it moves quite a bit. So it depends if you're doing this on carpeting, this may not be so easy. So you can just watch it and know that this is a great exercise to do on a flooring without carpeting. Good, and we're gonna change it to the other side. So scrunching and doing it sitting is good. You can also do it standing. We'll demonstrate with this standing as well. So my heel is on the floor, on the hardwood floor, but my toes are on that towel, and I'm going to scrunch, 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 and pull back. Scrunch, good. I'm seeing the chats, not quite sure that's what we want to happen. Pull in, scrunch, scrunch, good. Doing this slowly, you're working all those muscles, just like if you were doing it with your hand, pull, pull. Good, let's do that again, the other side. And ball of the foot is on the towel, heel is on the floor, and I'm going to scrunch and scrunch and scrunch. Continue. Good. Feel like you're really working your feet. This is a great exercise to do. You can also do this while you're doing the mini crossword puzzle, or maybe you do the full-on one, which is even better. So it could take you a long time. Just think about, or maybe not. Maybe you're a person who does the crossword really fast. Pulling this in. Nice. Scrunching, scrunching, 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Nice. Okay, so that's something to do. Now I'm going to take my towel, I'm going to fold it, I'm going to roll it up because I'm going to show you later why this is a great thing to have also close by for some stretching exercises. So I'm going to put that down there. And then I'm going to grab my bathrobe strap. Your yoga strap, bathrobe strap, or a stretchy band, whichever you want to use. Right now, I want to do it with my bathrobe strap. So I'm going to place this under just my big toe. Just my big toe. Okay, so I've worked it in there, so it's just under my big toe. I'm going to hold on. I'm going to pull gently and carefully my big toe up, and then I want to lower with resistance my big toe down. So again, pull the big toe up, lower that toe back down. Why is this important? We want to maintain strength in that big toe for push off when you're walking, getting up off the floor. Big toe, push down, up. You can do this with all your toes. For right now, we're just going to focus on the big one. Take it up, because oftentimes big toes can get stiff and immobile, so you want to maintain that mobility, pushing it down. 2 more. Lift the toe up, push the toe down. I want to make sure you can see me. Lift that toe, push it down, lift it up, push it down. Nice. Go ahead and take it away. And let's now do the big toe of the other foot. So looping it under, and I'm not going to really pull hard. I want to be gentle as I do this. Always want to be gentle, especially starting with a new exercise. I'm going to gently pull that toe up with my strap, and then I'm going to push that toe down into the floor, trying to push the strap down to the floor. Lift and push and lift and push. 2 more. Lift and push, lift and push it down. Nice. And take that strap away. I'm going to put that down. Take a breath, take a moment, feel what's been happening with your feet, lower legs, and let's make our way up to standing. So you may miss the top of my head, but just have no fear. I am still here. So I want to show you a couple things. So this is the half dome foam roller that I use for calf stretches, but most of you probably don't have this. So instead, I've got my yoga mat rolled up, or I have a little towel here, but you can use a bigger towel that will give you a bigger roll. So let's go through that exercise. So for this purpose, I'm going to put the ball of my foot, keeping the heel on the ground, just the ball of my foot onto that yoga mat and drop the heel into the floor. So what's important here is that the ball of the foot and the front of the foot, more likely, is higher than your heel and allowing you to stretch through the calf. So for me, I know that because I've been doing this, this is not enough of a lift. So I am going to change and show you what happens with my half dome and putting this ball of the foot on my half dome. So the front of the foot is on my half dome. My heel is down. I'm going to turn sideways this way so you can see. So the ball of my foot is on the half dome, and then my other foot is just slightly behind. Now I feel it, because this is about a 3-inch height at the top of the dome, or 4. You can play around with this. You can use anything. You can use the rolled up towel. You can use a stack of books, anything that allows you to get the front of the foot higher than the back. So this is a calf stretch, and I know we are all familiar with the calf stretch, but the importance of stretching the top of the foot like we did before in the beginning and the calf is really important for your gait. because you want to be able to have mobility through that ankle joint to walk. Taking this leg that is not on the half dome, that's my support leg, I'm going to try moving it a little bit more forward, and lo and behold, a bigger stretch. So now this foot is slightly forward and I have a bigger stretch through my calf. And hopefully you may too. So if you're using something rolled up, and again, my towel was a little bit too small, that would probably be more like a 2-inch. And the yoga mat was also about 3 inches. You want to get to a place where you feel these muscles stretching. Let's change and do the other foot. I'm going to show you here. So the ball of the foot. And I start with the foot behind me, the opposite foot behind me, trying not to list one way or the other, putting my full weight into that forward leg so that the toes are higher than the heels, heel is down. But now I want a little bit more intensity in my stretch. I'm going to step this foot a little bit more forward. And there it is. There's the intensity. Good. So while I'm stretching, a couple things that I'm aware of, that my head is ramped back. I'm not jutting my head forward, causing a curvature of the upper back. I want to make sure that my shoulders are in line with my pelvis, and I'm trying not to lift side to side, so keeping the weight even and changing. Good. Let's do it again, and I want to show you an additional stretch for the calf. So there's 2 big calf muscles, the gastrocs, medius, and as well as the soleus. The soleus is the one that's closer to the bone, a deeper muscle, and it attaches lower. So if I bend my knee, both knees, or even just the front to start, I will address the soleus muscle, which is super important. And it feels different, and it's like the shift of the stretch drops lower. And then come on up, and then I'm going to do the other side. And again, if I haven't reminded you at all times, if you want to do this stretch and not be focusing and worrying about your balance, please hold on. So the ball of the foot is on, and you're going to bend that knee. Feel that heel drop even more deeply and feel the stretch through the soleus muscle. So as we were talking about mobility and stability, so the reason for the stretching of the ankle in the top of the foot as well as the calf is because it directly correlates to your walk. Because at some point, you're going to have the back leg shift and go forward of the front leg that's already on the ground. But if it's too small, you find yourself doing smaller movements. So one way is to get that mobility and stretch into those muscles so that you can have a bigger, stronger stride. Just something to think about and work on as you're doing your stretching and as you're doing your strengthening exercises. So always the thing that to be aware of is nothing in our body really works independently and alone. 25% of our muscles and our connective tissue and bones are in the ankle joint and below. That's a lot. So giving a lot of attention to those muscles and to those bones, and think about working them. So to be able to stretch your toes the way you can stretch your fingers, what a great thing. But it takes practice and it takes some work. So just nothing is going to happen overnight. Think about doing it in a way that feels doable for you. Okay, so at that point, let's see if there's something else. One more thing I'd like to do, because I love to focus on these calf muscles, is standing by your chair if you're standing up, and if you aren't, you can do this sitting down, and just some standing heel raises, lifting and lowering, up and down. Keeping your legs straight as you lift, as high as you can go and lower down. Nice. And again, if you have any cramping, you want to stop. Don't want to work through the cramping. You want to stop and see if you can rub it out or stretch it out. Let's do a few more here. 3. I also wanted to mention a couple of people whose work I follow. One of them is a woman named Katie Bowman. You may have heard of her. Katie Bowman is a biomechanist, she calls herself. And she's has a master's in science, and she has a website. She has a book called Move Your DNA. She's a big believer in minimal shoes, walking outside on unstable surfaces, getting those feet to be very strong and sturdy and pliable, which is something that's important. The other person is somebody named Kelly Starrett, Starrett. And he is a physical therapist. He works a lot with elite athletes, but he also has a lot of great information. And he has recently written a book with his wife, Juliet. They're in the Bay Area somewhere. They have a studio, but I've heard him on podcasts, various podcasts, and a lot of information is really important. Basically, what I would say in kind of in closing before we set aside some time for questions is movement is essential. Daily movement, finding ways to move, and not just your feet and your lower legs, but your whole body. And of course, being outside is a wonderful experience, and navigating the terrain of outside, walking outside on a path, walking outside in nature, getting off of a sidewalk every once in a while, if you are able to. It creates a foundation for your nervous system, for your proprioceptors to be super activated and aware, and it translates into whole body. So I'm going to stop there. And I think Sigrid has maybe some questions. If there are some questions, I'm happy to stay for a little while and answer them.
Thank you very much, Mary. That was really great. I mean, I myself have problems with my feet, so I'm definitely benefiting from that, and I'm looking forward to watching it actually again on our YouTube channel, where this can be seen starting in the next couple of days. So yeah, again, many thanks.
Sigrid, I just wanted to take a moment to introduce you. Okay, that's all right. Sigrid is our question taker par excellence, and she never gets enough credit. So I want you to know that besides answering questions, Sigrid is also the team leader of the events committee at Ashby Village, and she oversees so many of our great events at Ashby Village, like the Friday social hours, our holiday parties, our volunteer appreciation events, and our over 90s tea. But she's always in the kitchen and running back and forth, so we didn't get a chance to thank her. She also serves on the arts and culture team, where this Sunday they'll be presenting Sandra Butler's talk on leaving home at 83. And I hope you'll join us on Sunday for this interesting event. So let's see if we've gotten any more questions here.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Roberta. That's very kind, very kind of you. Yeah, we have one question about, is there anything we should keep in mind about our feet when we are walking? And I might add also on uneven, when there's an uneven surface, you know, I think that's when you walk in the woods or, you know, so.
Yeah, I would say be aware of your shoes. I know that for many of us, finding the right fit is really important and not always easy. And sometimes you find the right shoe and then you go to buy it again and it has changed. So making sure that your shoes are comfortable, that you have the right socks on, that you can move your toes within your shoes. I think that's really incredibly important. As someone who walks a lot, I do walk a lot myself, and it's the first thing I think about is like, which shoes am I gonna wear? And like, is this the long walk where I need these shoes or shorter? So being aware of shoes, I think, is really important, and getting the right fit. The other thing about when I was mentioning about walking on unstable surfaces or walking out actually outside, you definitely want to go slow if that's not something that you're used to. Walking sticks are great, 1 or 2. I'm not really skilled at the Scandinavian walking with the walking sticks, but I know others are. I think that's a great way to feel like you can get outside and feel supported. But one of the things, the reason I mentioned it is walking on a certain, and again, I wouldn't do anything outrageous to start. You want to start slowly with every new activity. And if it doesn't feel safe, certainly don't do it. But walking, like on a little bit of a rocky path, or where you're noticing you're having to go over roots, those are really important for sending messages through the proprioception of our feet. And it's also for your brain having to navigate that. Now, again, safety first. That is what I go by for everything. And if something does not feel like the right surface to be walking on, don't. But when you come to it, it's great to have a stick handy, or just know, if you've been walking and you're strong, you could probably manage it okay, but just being super aware. I don't know about you, I've tripped and fallen on sidewalks. So sidewalks are not always your friend. And so, just being aware of those sidewalks that are slightly lifted, and, we all want to just be safe as we're walking, most importantly.
Next question. Are there other parts of our bodies we should think about exercising in order to improve our balance?
Yes. So one of the things that I've been working on, and a little bit more, since I've been retired from an executive director position, I spend more time doing research and studying and working with others. And your gluteus maximus, your glutes. So I was teaching a class the other day and talking about glutes, and finally somebody said, where are your glutes? So let's point them out. These are your gluteus maximus. These are your glute muscles. They're big muscles. They're strong muscles. You strengthen them when you do squats. You strengthen them when you do deadlifts. You strengthen them when you take a stride up the stairs, and really focusing, and you strengthen them when you do glute bridges. Glute bridges, super great exercise. So for those of you who cannot or don't get on the floor, maybe not glute bridges, but certainly thinking about doing squats. But that's a whole nother episode, which I'd love to do. But glute bridges, just lifting your hips up. You've all done this, I'm sure. Contracting those glutes at the top, putting your hands there, feeling how strong they are or weak. But I would say if there was one area to really focus on, it's definitely strengthening the posterior chain of muscles, glutes, hamstrings, calves.
I like actually these exercises. I do them and I like them. They're really good. So I agree with that. Okay, so we have one question about foot cramps. One foot actually cramps, the other does not. How can you best work on that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. My feet cramp inexplicably too. I'll be, I don't know what the answer is other than or why one foot cramps and maybe the other doesn't, but I would spend time with the ball, as a preventive thing. Again, starting your day or at the end of the day or anytime you have time, and just work with what you have. I'm not quite sure why muscles cramp. Some people, it's because they work too hard. It's not, I really don't know the answer other than the more time you spend sending blood flow into those muscles and body parts, the better off you'll be. So as a preventive way, if you can spend time, especially with that one cramping foot, doing some stretching and massage.
And there's a follow-up question to this one. One foot angles out at 25 degrees. The other is straight when relaxed. How can you work on this difference?
It could be coming from the hip, not quite sure without really knowing. If it's something that is bothering you, if it feels like it's bothering your knee because your foot is turned out, you might want to talk to a physical therapist about that. So that's what I would recommend. If it's something that happened as a result of something, or if you've always been like that, you can try just working in that parallel position, starting, standing up. Can you bring it in? There's so many reasons why we turn out, and oftentimes it's a turnout from the hip. So again, it's probably a little bit more involved than I can answer, but yeah.
Roger, who asked this question, he said it is actually from the hip.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so again, I would say if it's something that you want to talk about with a physical therapist about getting some exercises specifically for you, I would do that. Or work with where you are. So if you've got this hip turned out, you can still do those stretching and strengthening exercises for your feet.
My feet and ankles are always swollen, especially at night. Can this be addressed by exercise?
I don't know the reason for the cause of your inflammation or swelling, but it definitely cannot hurt to do stretching and strengthening. You may know better as to why there's swelling in your feet and ankles. There's a physiological reason why that's going on, and that sounds like a medical thing to check out, but I think you might bring some relief by stretching and strengthening and just see how that feels. So much of what we do is trial and error, what works, what doesn't work, and playing it safe and slow.
And yeah, this is actually the last question now, and I'm not sure. I mean, this is for this workshop. Ingrown toenail, how to best treat it?
I don't. I would see a podiatrist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very uncomfortable. I'm sorry that that's something that you're dealing with, but yeah, that's what I would suggest.
Now there's one other question. Is there a list of these exercises so I can use them on my own, or do you repeat this program from time to time?
So this is recorded and you can just follow along. And yeah, it didn't make a PDF chart or anything, but you can follow along next time you do them. I basically start working with the ball, go to sitting, go to standing, and so yeah.
I think that's all the questions we have.
That's it. Great, Ingrid. Sigrid. Thank you so much. It was so nice meeting you. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping to go to the talk on Sunday, so hopefully maybe meet some of you in person. And this has been great. I'm a big fan of Ashby Village. I think it's a wonderful organization, and I look forward to maybe meeting some of you in person at some point.
Right.
And thank you, Roberta.
Yes, well, I want to thank you. That was fabulous. My feet feel alive and I'm ready to go dancing now.
Okay, dancing. All right. Well, you can go walking, dancing, whatever works for you.
Really
Great.
appreciate it. And I hope to see you back again soon.
Okay, thanks, Roberta. Thank you, Sigrid. Thanks, everyone.
Take care, everyone, and have a good day.